it says I work,
Okay.
like it says I worked with Lockheed, I've worked with these awesome businesses. So what I've been able to do is I've been able to take that subject matter expertise of leading big groups, finding amazing people, TSSCI cleared, scientists at 8 years with Quest Diagnostics, medical, etc. So I have a very good broad background, but I'm also a straight shooter. I'm not going to blow sunshine around what's not there. And I'm willing to answer any questions that you may have at all. Okay, let's keep going. Well, that's not what I wanted. Anyway, as a job seeker, you may have felt these things: totally undervalued, completely overwhelmed. And when you feel that, so many times we live in our head. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not worthy. I have been mansplained as a woman. I, as a white male, am now made to understand all these diversity things. And what do I do with that? And how do I live with that? Right? So when it's time to know your worth and your innate power, you have to stop playing small, right? My goal is to help you pivot that and really help you amplify. So some coaches out there were doing, courage and community, and I am all about community. But right now, throughout the past 2 years, it's not about staying stagnant. It's about making small changes and transformations so that you can be your best when you're networking, feel better when you're interviewing, feel better when you're asking for help. And let me assure you, there is nothing wrong with asking for help. That's why BoulderNet is here. That's why Colorado Career Connectors is here, because we offer this type of help for you. So I want you to turn up and increase and feel better about who you are with connection. Because over the past 2 years, we've been isolated. We've been stuck and lost. Can any of you put a 1 in the chat if you can relate to that? So there's a 7-step career amplifier that if you go out on my website, you can subscribe to my site. We send out a lot of info on events around the city. And there's a 14-page free guide for you. And it shows you, it talks about what is your vision? Where do you want to land? If you're no longer interested in doing what you're doing, but you want to go into organic farming, that is beautiful. If you were a scientist, but you want to be in operations now. So it's really asking and going deeper of what is your vision. And so many people right now are like, what is my purpose? I think about it is, what are you curious about? What do you want to be doing in the future? And I align that with mindset. I'm a certified positive intelligence, mental fitness coach. And all that means is that we learn what is sabotaging you. These negative feelings and thoughts and emotions that are sabotaging you and hijacking your success. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too loud. I work with a German company and they don't understand the American culture. All of these negative thoughts. And I put my clients through a 7-week program with a group and an accountability partner. And I have a group right now of 5 people. And one of them was crying. She could not stop crying because she was gaslighted. And now she found a role in 3 weeks. We completely pivoted her branding. She is bringing grace and understanding and wisdom to know her value, but her new boss is kind of controlling. And so she's able to offer up, how would this be helpful to you, without questioning herself and taking herself back in the spiral of crap, right? Of negativity and thinking. And people are like, you look different. Her husband is like, you feel better. And it's creating deeper relationships. It's creating higher productivity, higher confidence. And I have story after story after story of people who have done this type of thing. So once you get your vision and your mindset right, what's your strategy? And part of your strategy and your tactics is coming to seminars, webinars, just like BoulderNet, is reaching out to people, just like I saw Lauren, you put Lisa Lemunion in there. Lisa comes to a bunch of my stuff. She emails me all the time. She's like, what do you have open? That woman is amazing, like for connecting. I mean, it's great. So that's part of your tactic, right? But if you don't have the right mindset and you are not amplifying your own awesome and unleashing your own edge, your professional edge, you're going to be going around in circles and living that definition of insanity. So if you're interested, go out, get the free guide. It's actually quite helpful. It will talk to you about vision questions, etc. So like I said, it starts with a vision and it talks about what do you genuinely care about? Not what you think the company wants you to care about or your family wants you to care about. What do you care about? And by the way, please take a screenshot of any of this. Write down whatever. This is all for you. What do you do effortlessly and naturally? Because isn't that how we want to be? We don't have to force a solution of who we are, right? When I was in big jobs, I had to force myself to think that I could do workforce planning and work with PhDs in HR analytics. It's not me. That's not who I am. And I'm like, I can't force myself to do this. Did I learn a ton? Yes. But was I my best in that role? No. Do you guys know what I'm talking about here? Like where you have to force a solution. No one wants to live that way. And if there are any questions or anything in the chat, let me make sure. Awesome. I really love participation and engagement. What issues, big or small, inspire or frustrate you? I've heard climate change and I've heard organic farm to table living. I'm paleo, so I do eat all organic, no dairy, no, all that. So that frustrates me. And I don't remember who on the call, but what are you driven by? What are you passionate about? If you can't answer these questions, then how are you going to communicate that to a potential employer, to a potential hiring leader? That honestly, even though the Great Resignation is happening, that means there's more opportunities for internal movements and mobility and for more competition, which is why if you are applying, that if they see that you're the one they want, they're going to move quickly. They're going to interview you. I can tell you a couple stories of that happened this week. Or they're going to take their time and they're going to be, so if you're hearing from the black hole, the abyss, don't you love that? It's the abyss, right? How many of you just are frustrated as hell with that abyss, right? I hear it every day. But if you can't communicate in your networking what you want, what your sweet spot is, then how are people going to help you? So it's really tailoring that communication, but feeling it in your heart that this is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is what gives value and how you can increase your ask for pay. Last year, my clients earned $1.4 million in increases and pay adjustments in promotions, just working with one person because the economy is that way. But beforehand, they didn't know how to ask for their value. That's the pivot and the change I want you guys to know about and do. So is this helpful so far? How are we doing?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Sandra. You have to optimize your mindset. Imagine like I talked about, courage and confidence, clarity, getting paid what you're worth. You are worth much more than Millennials have no problem, or even new grads have no problem asking for $70,000 to $100,000 a year, right? Millennials with 5 years of experience, I want 110,000 or more. Yet some of us who are Gen Xers or traditionalists or even boomers are like, I'll just take 90,000, right? Our younger generations have the confidence and they're asking for it. So you should too. Okay, find a company that aligns with your values. And, work-life harmony is hard right now because some companies, they're having so much turnover that those that are staying are inundated with being overworked. They're working like 60, 70 hours a week or more. And so how do those companies start to love up and change their own? That's a whole nother conversation, right? But that's where that burnout comes from. So I don't know about you, but I love Oprah. And she says, passion is energy. Think about it. You wouldn't want a speaker who would just be like this and monotone and robot and talking about like boring things. Recruiters want to talk to people who are human, who are great at communicating their value, who know how to answer the Sunday night problem. Now, what's the Sunday night problem? Does anybody know? The Sunday night problem is, what are the pain points that those hiring managers are thinking about on Sunday night going into Monday? You know what I mean, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You as a finance person, an accounting person, a scientist, a contractor, a farmer, a HR person, whatever, Sunday night, you're starting to think about the week ahead and you're like, oh God, how am I going to solve this problem? So your job as the job seeker is to solve the Sunday night problem. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. So by amplifying, you're starting to, at the DNA and soul level, change that negativity from going spiraling downward, spiraling upward. If you think about it, our solar system is done in spirals. Things with energy are spirals. I want your energy to go up so that you're resonating and amplifying yourself at a much higher level. Okay, you got to map out your strategy. This starts with the big picture, and then you start to break it down into these micro steps, right? What are the industries and associations? And Trent, I want to talk to you because you like know everything out there. That's amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, how do you know about that stuff? You have to create a marketing plan. What does that marketing plan look like? Will you work with a career coach? And there are so many of us out there. Darren Canthal, Terry Dupuy, I think she actually retired, but there's some really good coaches out there, including me. We all do different things. My focus is not transactional. My focus is let's go deeper so you feel better. And when you get transactional, you're resonating so that you can really find the job that you want. So you have to prioritize your resources, and then you got to execute. One of you, Hari, I think, put the companies in that she's interested. How do you approach those companies? Who do you know at those companies? I have a client right now that is a leader in customer engagement and customer success. And she just sent me an email last night. She's like, hey, Chelle, you have contacts at Evolve, at this SaaS company. And then I don't remember the other company, but I'm like, yes, number one, I'll send your resume over to this person. It's how do you get that network? What do you say? And how do you connect? If you don't have an accountability partner, I highly recommend you find someone. This is someone that will hold your feet to the fire and say, hey, did you contact that company? Because sometimes we just have crappy days. Those rejection letters come and you're like, great. One of my clients got a phone call yesterday from a company that she was in 4th round interviews with. And she had to put this project together, and it took her 4 hours to put this project together. She had a phone call. Thank you. They left her a message because they couldn't talk to her in person. And they said, we know how long it took for you to do this. Thank you so much. We have decided to move forward with another person. And now she's like, SHIT, right? We could say other superlatives, but I'll be nice. And those things will happen. Rejections will come. It's part of life. It's how you bounce back from those that, again, go back to how you amplify, how you respond mentally to that. I have another client that is interviewing. She went through 5 rounds of interviews. They have 3 openings. An HR person told her last week, we have 1 opening yet left. We'll let you know. And she hasn't heard anything. So her anxiety level is just really high. Can anybody relate to that?
Yes.
Right? It's how you bounce back from that. It's very hard not to take it personally. Very hard. But that's when I would say, where do you go back to? You go back to your vision and you go back to your mindset. Because if those are stable, and if you have a circle and a community around you with an accountability partner, you can be vulnerable. Like Brene Brown says, courageous vulnerability is the strongest, it's the biggest strength that you can have. And it's me saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm a little edgy. Yes, I'm a badass at what I do, right? That's my strength. But I have really bad days. So I go work out. I'm a fitness instructor. I go with my circle and my community and I cry. And it's okay to reach out and share the happy, the crappy, the good and the bad with your accountability partner, with your coach, and with your community. So if you feel isolated, I challenge you to reach out to people that are in your comfort zone. You know who I mean, right? That comfort zone of who's around you. But then when you're having a really good week and you have your marketing plan and you have who you want to network, you schedule those networking appointments, because if you schedule them, they're 5 times more likely to do them. And your comfort zone goes to your stretch zone. And then you're starting to feel like an octopus, right? Then you're starting to reach out and your comfort zone goes to your stretch zone, which goes to your risk zone. And when you're risking, you're amplifying, you're turning up, just like the volume goes out. It has that ripple effect, right? The same is true for what you're doing in how you execute your tactics. So you can think of it as an octopus, you can think of it as a ripple effect, you can think about it as an amplification, but whatever you're doing, you can't stay stuck in just your comfort zone. You got to stretch out and connect to those in your stretch zone, your first and second level LinkedIn connections, the people on this call, having a consultation with me or with whoever, you guys, there's enough space out there for everyone. And so if you're drawn to another coach, contact them, because this is what we do. We can help you. Trent, you're like an encyclopedia of companies, especially for space. That's cool. So how are we doing? Any questions so far? Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay, we talked about this Sunday night problem, right? Okay.
Yep.
What keeps your employer up at night? And what do they think about on Saturday nights? You have to find their pain. Okay, one of you is in software and is interested in a climate change company. And you know who you are. So if I were speaking with you, what are their pain points? What software do they use? What are they trying to do? And what have you done to solve their problem? Are they growing? Have you worked in a growing area? So you follow what I'm saying? Read the business journal. Read an angels list about companies that are growing. Look at the Denver Startup Week and who sponsored Denver Startup Week. Look at Built in Colorado. These are all tactics that you might not have thought of. Go to the Denver Business Journal's book of lists and figure out exactly what companies you want to target, and then start networking with those people. I'm sure agencies know all of these tactics, but for behind the recruitment curtain, this is what I advise my clients to do. Figure out those companies that are the right size. Do they offer hybrid or remote? What are the remote job postings that are out there that are actually viable? All
Sorry,
these-
Chelle, you said the Denver Business Journal, and sorry to interrupt.
No, está bien. Go ahead.
Is that the Denver Business Journal?
Yes, the Denver Business Journal has a book of lists which names all of the top companies, everything from top staffing and temporary companies to top private equity to the best aerospace companies, the best electronic companies, the best medium-sized businesses. It is a encyclopedia of job seeker love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Any other questions about that? Okay.
Do you have to subscribe to the Denver Business Journal, or is that free?
I do believe you have to subscribe, but I do believe that it is a very good investment that you can write off of your taxes as professional development.
I think it's available in libraries too.
It is. It's available in libraries.
Library.
It's available in libraries, exactly. Okay, there's all these different channels of communications, right? When you know what your focus is and who your target companies are, you have to frame your conversation about how you're the expert to the problem they're facing. So what is the problem that Project Canary is facing? Are they doing an infrastructure change? Are they doing climate change issues, right? This is how my clients have been able to consistently go 4 rounds, 5 rounds of interviews. And even though they get no's sometimes, they know what to ask. They know how to feel. They know what to do before interviews to psych themselves up. They know how to accept rejection so that if you are interviewing, some people have 3 interviews in a day, right? So the challenges, the main pain point, ask questions early about what's going on in their business now. Tell me about your business. If you're sending an email that says, hi, I saw this job posting, here's the job number. Can you get me in front of the right person? They're not going to get back to you. Sage Sorinen, from Director of Talent Acquisition at Guild, she and I were on a panel, and she's like, I get 15, 20 emails a day. What catches her attention and my attention is, hey, I saw that Guild is growing. I learned that this is a problem. One of my clients who was a head, like a dean at University of Arizona, we got into Guild, and it's because of networking and knowing their pain points. That's how you find the hidden job market, which 85% of all jobs are found through the hidden job market. So that's where you want to focus. Job postings are nice. There's hundreds and hundreds of applicants, or there's not. Now, I don't know from Robert Half, we have project accounting positions at CFC, and we had 3 interviews the other day. By the end of that day, 2 of those candidates had offers. I also am recruiting for Remote Lock. I sent out 17 invites to interview. I heard back from 9 people that wanted to interview, that set up time. Only 5 people showed up. If you're out there and you don't want to interview, don't waste the recruiter's time. It's about class. It's about professionalism. If you know that you're not interested, please do not waste their time. Okay? It's just professional courtesy. Usually we don't have that problem with like higher level roles, but the lower level roles are actually much harder to fill right now, because hourly rates are going up, as they should, in my opinion. Right? People are asking for more. People are taking time off because they can go work from Mexico, or they can go to their friend's house in Miramar, Florida. And people can move around. So anyway, let's keep going. putting this all to work, like I said earlier, if you put it on your schedule, you're 5 times more likely to actually do it. A lot of times you're not moving forward because you're getting in your own way. And what's getting in your own way is your mental fitness. And I'm not saying mental health, although many people I work with or know, they have a therapist, they have a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and me. It's kind of like a village of help and assessment and mentoring. And there's no shame in that whatsoever. So but you got to trust yourself. You got to get out of your own way, and you got to pick a purpose. So you have to know who you are, what your brand is, how you can make a difference. Like I just changed my LinkedIn. See, I help badass professionals unleash their professional edge, right? Because I want to work with people who know and have had that motivation and know they're high achievers, but they've lost that part of themselves. They don't know who they are anymore. They feel lost and stuck and overwhelmed, and they know they have to get their game back. So what is your purpose? Where's your vision? How are you going to pivot and amplify your own awesome? So how are you going to take action? I'd love to see some things in the chat about anything you heard today that you're going to implement tomorrow or even later today. Or we're very open here. If you want to share something that you learned that you're like, I'm going to take that action. Let's go ahead and chat about it. You can come off mute.
For me personally, it's gonna be important to like work with an accountability partner, because as you said, sometimes those crappy days hit you, like what I'm doing and how I'm adding value, and all those thoughts. So, and reinvent myself. And I was taking notes here, like write my business plan, what I want to do, like be so very specific on writing what I want, how I want to contribute, what motivates me, and have confidence on my business plan. And don't think, oh my God, I want to move from the corporate world to, like, for instance, save the whales or save the oceans. I'm crazy what I'm doing, and I have a job, and I'm like, don't let my own thoughts mine my goal and my vision. That's what I need to work on.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So going back to Brene Brown, courageous vulnerability. Anything else? I'd love to hear from any of you. Because as the speaker, I see these faces out there, and then I don't hear anything, and I'm like, oh Lord, they didn't hear anything. They didn't learn anything.
I'll say something. I thank you so much, Chelle. This has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I love your it really hit me when you were talking about authenticity and, like, you know, like not trying to make yourself be something that doesn't fit you for the job. You know, that just like really resonated with me. And it felt very validating because and maybe it is because of the great resignation. We have so many people making different choices right now. It felt really, it just felt really validating to hear it from somebody on the recruiting side that is, you know, that there is, I guess in some ways, a little bit of permission to really try to find something that really fits you. And the other piece that really resonated was you really need to know yourself. Yeah, you know, in order to be able to present yourself, to amplify your voice, you know, and like so. Anyway, just in general, this has been really very encouraging and very empowering.
Good, thank you, Diana.
Hi, thank you, Shelley, for doing this. This was when I saw this pop up on the BoulderNet page, I was like, I gotta check this out, because I think what's happening too is, in the process of trying to find ourselves, we're not healing ourselves, and we don't necessarily all need therapists. We don't all need psychologists,
No.
but from the perspective of me wanting to switch my career eventually over the next couple of years from accounting over to Reiki and energy healing. I see a lot in corporate culture over the last 26 years. People are stuffing themselves into round pegs when they're square, and they're not taking that time to really, I mean, not only what you've presented is what you need to focus on, but you also need to heal yourself. You need to take the time to think about what your childhood has given you and why you're overcompensating for something, or why you're doing something for people, not setting your boundaries. There's so many elements to it that I think that corporate America is not equipped to handle. And I think there's a lot of voids out there. So I feel like, not only do you have to figure out what you want to do, but you have to figure out what's stopping you. And it's usually not as simple as not feeling passionate about something. It's about figuring out what's keeping you back because of patterns you've developed in the past. So there's a lot to this.
There's a lot to this, Diana, and I absolutely believe in energy work. And I partner with medical intuitives, Reiki masters, healers, crystal. And you know what? I'm not going to apologize. Sorry, not sorry. To anyone out there that might think that's a little woo-woo. Sorry, not sorry. You're near Boulder, for God's sake. Right. So part of what I do is holistic. And throughout my career, people are like, you're really intuitive.
We're more intuitive than we give ourselves credit for. Most people
Exactly.
have not learned how to use that as their guidance, because if everyone were to listen to their intuition, we wouldn't be putting ourselves into situations for companies that are not a fit for us or them.
Well stated. Thank you for that. Carol, you're not on mute. So did you want to share?
I did. There is something that I'd like to say. I've worked at several companies, and I do agree that once you get somewhere, you should try to learn and do more things. But I think I see job descriptions out there where you have to scroll through like 4 pages. I mean, that's a job for 3 people. So it's like, I've given up on trying to apply for those jobs. And that's kind of demoralizing. I mean, the job that I applied for at Lockheed, I did something similar at Northrop Grumman. So I really feel like I could do it. And then the job I applied for at Sierra Nevada, I definitely think I could do that. And so I'm trying to stay with that. You're right. It is hard to get a recruiter's attention, but I try to be respectful with the fact that, I think they're swamped. Either people are saying, well, yeah, maybe I'll look into it. And then they show up and they don't want the job. So that's got to be really frustrating as far as that goes. And even for us people who do want that job, that means they're wasting their time when they could be spending it with someone who wants it. So I find all of it very frustrating. And there were several people I worked with at my last company, which I won't mention their name. My manager came to me and he said, I don't understand why everybody's leaving the company. And I'm just like, well, first of all, you hire somebody to do one thing, just as an example, like a software engineer, and then you try to turn them into something else. Okay, why don't you use your people for what you hired them for, and then seek out someone who wants to be that software manager? I find that so annoying, and the companies just can't understand why people are leaving. It's like, well, then you're not paying attention. As far as that is my reply. So that's kind of some of the things that I've come up against.
So what's now coming up is all of this raw things that were raw before that we knew, but that corporate had the upper hand. Employees are starting, the candidates and employees are starting to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. And so companies are going to have to start paying attention, and they are. I work with heads of total rewards, et cetera. but it's very hard to change a Lockheed Martin or a Raytheon in one day.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do that. So I do have people in my community that are consultants for mental health, and the companies are hiring them. We can't get enough of them. Women who are being put on boards, BIPOC candidates that are asking for what they're worth, Black, Indigenous people of color. That's not in your, so, you know, people are asking what they want, and companies are going to have to change, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. And that's why 21 million people in the fourth quarter left their job last year. Think about that, 21 million people. So as a recruiter and as someone who coaches people who have left, who have been gaslighted, toxic bosses, crying, men who cannot stop crying, who think, you know, they're supposed to be the macho. That's why you need to find someone, an accountability partner, someone to be that person, or be in a community of people like that. So awesome. I'm not keeping track of time. So how are we doing on time?
We're fine.
Okay.
Good.
The other thing I want to talk about is consistency. So many times it's like seesaw job applications, right? I'm feeling great Monday and Tuesday, and then, oh, it snowed. Let's go up to Winter Park. That would be me. Like, I would love to do that, right? Let's go up to Winter Park, or let's go up to the hot springs. Looking for a job is a full-time job. Oh my God, I've heard that so many times, Chelle. It's like, right? Like, you just want to poke your eyeball out. However, you have got to be consistent. So a lot of times with my clients, we actually look at their calendars and we say, okay, what time are you going to get up? How's your body feeling? Going back to my Reiki worker. Are you going to any yoga classes? Are you going to any Zumba classes? I teach Zumba Wednesday nights in Denver at Choose Fitness, if you guys want to come. Are you having movement and having fun? Because this job search stuff and being rejected and then never hearing from people and then reading these 4-page job descriptions, it's just enough to drive you cray, right? So are you consistent? You have your vision, you have your mental fitness, you have your strategies, your tactics, but if you're not consistent, your results aren't going to be consistent either. So it creates accountability. And again, going back to that edge, what is your edge? So dependable, reliable, responsible for your choices, your actions. But when you feel like crap, you want to stay in bed and cover like Linus and Charlie Brown, right? You don't want to go out and put yourself out there. Here's the thing. What you seek also seeks you, but there's more of us seeking you now, right? So read Rumi. That's not from me. That's a Rumi quote, right? Do meditation, whatever you cook, right? Go out and get your hands dirty in the garden, whatever, but don't sit at the computer all day long because humans aren't meant to do that, but you got to be consistent. Okay. So Dwayne Johnson, you guys know who that is? Okay, The Rock, right? The Rock, he was a wrestler. He was discriminated against as a football player in high school. He is now one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood and in the world, right? He said success isn't always about greatness. Success is about consistency. Small pivots and amplification are about consistency. Hard work leads to success, and then your greatness will come. When I started my business in 2019, my fear, because I made very nice salary, right? Head of Fortune 50 talent team, very, very nice. I didn't know where my money was going to come from. I'm the breadwinner. My husband's a stay-at-home dad for 5 years. Where are we going to make enough money to live in Colorado, right? fear. I'm talking about major fear where I couldn't get off the couch for 2 days. And my husband was like, it's a leather couch. You're going to make like a water stain with your tears. He's like, go to the other couch. Right? I can honestly tell you, I had a really good year last year. Because I get to be myself. I get to go teach Zumba. I get to go work out every morning. I get to be asked to do these type of presentations. And I get to be me. Greatness will come. But how do you define greatness, right? How do you define that? Before we met today, I am reading this book by Tosha Silver. It's Not Your Money. It's called It's Not Your Money. And it's about divine abundance. And there's this abundance prayer that I'm happy to share with any of you. But it talks about what I want for each of you is that you receive whatever you're meant to have, that you receive, and that you give freely from your heart. And if I'm getting too woo-woo, I'm okay with that, right? Change me into one who can fully love, forgive, and accept myself so that what needs to be released is released and what needs to come. Because in ease and flow comes abundance. In ease and flow, there's no forcing a solution. And no one ever does their best work when you're forcing something. Okay, so you got to be positive about it. We talked about this. This goes into positive intelligence, that if you have the right mental fitness, that you're 37% more likely to increase your sales. If you have positive intelligence in a job search, 1.4 million in increases with my clients. 3 of them doubled their income. The average percentage increase, 35%, because of their amplification inside. So go get Reiki done. It's not your money. Think about what abundance is versus scarcity. I'm not going to do that. I can't make that. I'm not good enough. I have braces. I have glasses. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'm too tall. My shoes don't look great. Who cares? You are worthy. All right. So we've talked a little bit about this. Oh my gosh. Bringing gratitude into your life. If you make a gratitude list, thank you to Trent for all that he's done for this group. Thank you to Dawn. Thank you to Sandra. Obrigado for un pouquinho de português. More Spanish, but
Muito bem.
muito bem, muito bem. No matter who you're interviewing with, you have to send a thank you note. Being grateful that you have this community. Being grateful, incorporating that increases your levels of happiness, allows you to live in abundance, makes you more peaceful, less reactive, and less resistant, right? Think about doing accounting for 26 years and then moving into Reiki. I got to talk to you. That's pretty cool. I love it. So incorporating gratitude into your networking goals, as soon as you start asking for abundance and asking for what you're worth, things will just come to you. It's really amazing. This morning, I spoke with a gentleman out of the military whose wife I worked with 10 years ago. And she saw me on LinkedIn and she's like, you have to call Chelle because she's trustworthy. She's a BIPOC ally. She's done stuff with the military. I don't know if I'm going to get him as a client, but he now knows that he's worth it. And I hope that you know you're worth it. And that I'm super grateful to talk with you today. And I'm grateful that the ripple effect that this has will help you be better this week, next week, in finding a job. What are you grateful for? How are you going to resonate differently and amplify, make these small pivots of your own awesomeness. Because if you feel like crap, if you are resisting things, they're going to see that in interviews. A lot of people I work with are bridesmaids or groomsmen. Oh, I got second place on that job. How many of you gotten second place on jobs? Anybody? Right? That's awesome. I'm a silver bronze person. I wanted the fucking gold medal. Right? I said a bad word, Trent. Sorry. Sorry, Don.
No words are bad. It's all about communication.
Okay. But you
Just
wanted the
spices, man.
effing gold medal, right? You wanted the effing gold medal. Put some gratitude out there. Thank everyone that you interviewed with. Thank the coordinator who set up your interview, because she or he has a say in whether you get hired.
Well, and the fact that you got that close, man, means all of those people that didn't select you almost did, right? So those people are people that you can network with.
Oh my gosh, I love that, Trent. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine is an HR business partner at Newmont Mining, and she was the head of HR at a SaaS company for the past year. It's an Australian company. They laid her off, and she had interviewed with Newmont like 2 years prior. Well, she saw that they posted the job again. So she contacted the recruiters and the hiring leaders with whom she interviewed 2 years ago. She got put to the top of the list. She got offered that job a week later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, those stories are out there, guys. I want you to know them. So to amplify your own success, you have to have a vision. What is your purpose? What are you curious about? You have to have the right mental fitness and stop the thoughts of scarcity and live into abundance. You've got to have the right strategies, the right branding, the right tactics, and being part of BoulderNet or Colorado Career Connectors is part of your tactics. And then you got to get out of your own way and be consistent, consistent, consistent. That's how you're going to amplify your success. So I'm open for questions, and let me see. Yeah, like let's party. Come on. Like let's get out of your own way and create positive movement and celebrate those things that you're allowed to do. Celebrate the fact that you're here. Celebrate the fact that you now have some time off to think about. What are you curious about? To think about, but not just think and live from here up, but to feel into your soul about what does your soul want to do? What is your heart telling you? Because the truth is you've got this. So this is where you can find, this is a QR code for my amplifier, and it's all free. I have no expectation. I love doing this. If you'd like to chat, great. I'm really good at what I do. And that affects better opportunities for you. Right? So I'd like to invite you to Colorado Career Connectors. Aim Higher and Boulevard are presenting on the 28th. It's the top secrets to recruiting top talent in 2022. We're going to go behind the recruitment curtain. Then on the 7th, I'm honoring veterans and military. And Trent and Dawn, I'd love for you to help get the word out on this. I'll send out, so think about that. You have access to Raytheon, to Zendesk and DocuSign. And all of those proceeds go back to the military. And then after that, we have in April, some really, really cool. I've got some financial advisors coming in. I've got banks coming in. I've got a past cancer survivor who's now a recruiter, who's going to talk about building the best life you can. I've got the head of HR from Gallus Detox Center coming in, good friend of mine, past client, did really well. Then I have Shelf Engine coming in as well on the 20 in late March. So as you can see, I'm networked. If I can help you, that's awesome. And this is how you contact me. Okay, open for questions, and I hope you've heard something, some piece of nugget of advice, something that has inspired you to amplify your own awesome, to live from your heart and not just your head, to live from faith. And I'm not talking spiritual faith. I'm talking faith in yourself, in the divine, for abundance in your life. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Trent, for inviting me.
Chelle, thank you so much. I
Yeah.
think everyone can see now why I was so impressed with you. I'm so glad you were able to present today. Again, I strongly encourage all of you to join her meetup group and her website, or check out her website. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll see if anyone has the questions or comments for you.
Great.
I do have a question. So what is the best way to get a recruiter's attention? I feel like